Yeah. So I'm actually curious why you have the Demaryius Thomas jersey on, Scott. It's not part of your fantasy team or anything. You just running out of jerseys now?
Getting low. I got 2 more. Got 2 more to go. This one and 1 more before we're
What's the other one?
The Corey Davis.
You already wore the Corey Davis one.
I wore it on an audio-only draft. I didn't wear it on the podcast.
Okay, well, you're in charge of...
If you're awake.
You're in charge of communicating with the people because I have no phone now. So, all right. Well, I guess you need to buy some more jerseys then.
No.
Okay,
We'll just go through it a second time here.
Second time. Okay.
We'll wear a jersey 2 times each year.
2 times each year. Okay. Cool. So let's do our 10-second runoff and then start the show. What's up, guys? This is Pigskin Dynasty, your podcast for all things fantasy football. I'm your host, broadcasting from coast to coast, Matt Phillips. Alongside me is the fantasy leprechaun, Scott Euler. What's up, Scott?
What's going on, Matt?
How you doing?
Good, busy week of work and ready for the weekend, ready for some football and unwind for a day here.
Yeah, man. Got back on track. I won. Led my league in points last week, which was pretty nice. I always like to do that. Call it a little bragging rights. And just it really shows how, to me, like, point scoring really shows how good your team is, in my opinion. Just like how much you score throughout the season. But you're doing pretty good, too. I mean, 2-0. You look like you're probably going to be 3-0 this week.
Lead league by 100 points in total points scored already through 2 weeks.
Yeah, because freaking week 1 gets 249. That's insane. But, yeah, I'm interested to see. We got a lot of things to go over, guys. So go right into it. Open up the show with what the segment we like to do, where Scott and I talk about various sporting topics that made us say just what the throughout the week. So mine is going to be the ties in the NFL. 2 ties in back-to-back weeks. It just baffles me. I don't understand what's going on. NFL has to fix this. It makes the game, to me, not appealing to watch. There should be a winner and a loser in pro football NFL. Like when the postseason starts, there's no tie in the postseason. You just continue playing until someone scores. So how come we can't do that in the regular season? I don't know why. The Green Bay Packers and Vikings game, which was one of the most funnest games to watch last week, they were all just getting touchdowns, slinging it. The Vikings were down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and they just came back, and then both the kickers missed field goals. It's just absolutely insane. You need to fix this, NFL. Please fix this. Please make this worth watching. Go back to the postseason rules. Just have them keep playing until someone scores. I don't think there should be a tie in pro football. So NFL, I'm looking at you, and I'm going to say, what the?
All right.
What do you think about that, Scott?
I don't really have a problem with ties in the regular season NFL games. Because you got to think about it. If we're going to play into the second quarter, and when we're adding another half of a game onto these players already.
No, man. I mean, most overtime is going to be ended in the. Someone's going to score. It takes like the 1% of games happen to go through the whole 15 minutes.
Most of them, right? Like you said, most of them score.
But how come there's no ties in the postseason?
Obviously, you can't tie in the postseason because somebody's got to advance.
Hey, they taught you in youth football that everyone's a winner. So if they tie, I think you should both go to the thing. It's just stupid. It's silly. It's trash.
Combine the teams, combine the rosters, take the best players from
combine
each
everyone
roster,
and just make it.
We'll take the helmet from the Vikings, the jerseys from the Packers, and then send them to the NFC Championship game playing combined like that.
I think it's trash. I think it's horrible. I think it's stupid. I think they need to fix it. But anyways, that's it. That's mine. So how do you go? I know you were.
Well, we all watched that Thursday Night Football game, I believe. And if you didn't watch it, you damn sure heard about it.
Baker Mayfield, baby.
Baker Mayfield comes onto the field, storms back, and
wins.
The Jets.
And Cleveland gets free beer.
They unlocked the beer cases. After the game, Hugh Jackson said, and I quote, "We'll review the tape to determine the quarterback for next week."
God, I can't.
What tape is there to review? There is no tape. You can't move the ball. You can't complete passes. He had 19. Tyrod had 19 yards through a quarter and a half. Baker Mayfield comes in, very first play, gets more than 19 yards, and he's already the leading passer one play into his career. It's over. Baker Mayfield's the guy. There is no consideration. There's no way you can spin this hue to place Tyrod as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. It's done. Baker Mayfield, his career has begun. What the?
Who think's going to get fired first? Todd Bowles, head coach of the New York Jets?
I don't think Bowles is getting fired.
I think Bowles, if he goes 1-3, I think he has a good chance of getting fired. Those reports, according to Adam Schefter, that he's on thin ice.
No, I don't think he'll get fired. That's a rookie quarterback he's dealing with, so I don't think he's going to get fired. I think that Week 1 game against the Lions bought him some more additional time. So I would say Hugh Jackson is more likely.
I'm surprised Hugh Jackson hasn't got fired. He's done some stupid things. It doesn't appear
Hugh Jackson will get fired to me, especially if he leaves Baker Mayfield in there starting.
Well, he didn't get fired.
If you're the owner, Jimmy Haslam is not going to let Tyrod become the starter again. There is no way the owner of the Browns, who meddles into this, he meddles in the Tennessee Volunteers program. He's a big booster of theirs.
I kind of feel bad for Tyrod. No, he should be 2-0.
He had plenty of opportunities.
He should be 2-0.
He had plenty of opportunities.
Mm-hmm, but then the kicker messes up. I mean, he did everything. I mean, whatever. I think he gets a bad rap, but that's how it is. We knew that was going to happen eventually. He's the number 1 overall pick. He was eventually going to take over the job. But anyways, yeah, we'll see. Anyways, just before we go into our start set, guys, let's go over some quick injury updates. Leonard Fournette's not expected to play today, so adjust your lineups accordingly. We just got the alert probably about 5 minutes ago. Marlon Mack has been out. Jack Doyle's out. Cole Beasley's going to play. Larry Fitzgerald's going to play. So if you have Marlon Mack, Jack Doyle, or Leonard Fournette, adjust your lineups accordingly. And I believe me and Scott also adjusting our rankings on the fly. So
yep, I had to pull Fournette out, and Yeldon is expected to play, and we'll put.
Yeah, obviously Yeldon's that pretty much most of the Jags matchups going to have a really good week this week. I think at least the
Where did you see? Where did you see that?
ESPN alerted me when I was setting up the show.
Okay, I still can't find it.
All right, before we go, I want to say it's safe to say, Scott may agree with me now, that Pat Mahomes is considered a stud. You start him every week. There's no if and about it.
He's the quarterback 1 until further notice.
Yes, he's my quarterback 1. He's been doing amazing things. I do expect some sort of regression eventually, but as of right now, until I see otherwise, he's a stud. He's up there with the Aaron Rodgers. He's up there with the Tom Brady's. Russell Wilson, most likely. Well, depending on Russell Wilson right now, but definitely up there with the Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. He's a stud. Completely blew my mind. Did not expect this at all. That offense is so friendly around him. I'm excited to see the Chiefs' offense, actually. I wish their defense a little bit better, though. But their offense is fun to watch. Anyways, so Scott, I'll let you start off first with the start this week for the quarterback position.
Well, besides starting absolutely Pat Mahomes.
Yes, obviously. He's the first stud.
I ain't going to go with that.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fitzmagic?
Yep. If Pat Mahomes is QB1, Fitzmagic's been QB2. I got him rated as my QB6 this week. Start him, ride him until he proves you wrong.
Fitzmagic
this week.
I feel like he's done this to us since the New York Jets had this really hot streak and then eventually just dies down.
And the Bills.
And the Texans probably.
And the Texans.
Yeah, he's been on like so many teams. It's insane. That would be a fun trivia question. How many teams have Ryan Fitzpatrick actually started?
I remember I was watching Ryan Fitzpatrick's first game. It was Rams, Texans. The Texans were up 21-0 on the Rams. Fitzpatrick comes in and leaves them back and beats the Texans with the Rams.
Is that beard, man? That beard gives him like extra.
I don't think he had his beard back then. This
really?
Was like
wow. He was clean shaven?
This is a long time
ago. That's probably the last time he shaved, probably.
Fun fact, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I have a autographed rookie card of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Really. I've had it for a long time since that one game. I remember watching that game and thought he was going to be good, and I've had this since I was in middle school. We're going ways back here. Autographed rookie card. If I find it, I'm going to try and find it. I'll post it on the Facebook page.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Now, you should probably try to collect that and see if you can re-sign it. That's probably going to be a collectible one day. All right, so my first quarterback's going to be Matthew Stafford. Okay, guys, so he only got 9 fantasy points in week 1. Bounced back with 29. Now he goes up against the Patriots. He just got carved up like Blake Bortles for 370 plus and 4 touchdowns. I do expect the Detroit Lions to be down quite often, in this game.
Is Stafford a better quarterback than Blake Bortles?
I think so, absolutely.
All right. Don't let your boys on Flag on a Play hear that.
Ride with 5. Look, Stafford, Bortles is in a great situation. He's in a situation where he can actually succeed. It's a great defense around him and great running game. Can't say that for Matthew Stafford. He already attempted 99 passes, guys. So my projection for Matthew Stafford is going to be 345 yards, 3 touchdowns. I do think he throws a pick, but I think he's going to throw the ball a lot. I think he's a lock for QB1 this week. Going into my quarterback number 2 while Scott's interacting with fans. My number 2 quarterback for this week, Kirk Cousins. Beautiful matchup against the Buffalo Bills. I feel like last week he kind of proved to everyone that he's a quarterback in the elite standards. He threw for 400-plus yards, 4 touchdowns. That one pick wasn't his fault. It was right through Treadwell's hands, but I still feel like he's underrated. I think he's going to have a great game. He's to lock in for 3 touchdowns this week, I believe. I got him at 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's my consensus number 2 quarterback this week.
So, going back to this Ryan Fitzpatrick card, I believe I got to clear something up for the Fantasy Ogre here. It was the Fantasy Ogre's football card. However, through his various moves and going into the Navy, now the Flight Academy, it is now my card.
Yes, that's what happens. That's what happens.
I have acquired it, some form or fashion. But anyways,
you sure you just need to take it?
I don't know. That's debatable. I am the leprechaun.
Yeah.
The quarterback start number 2 for me is Matthew Stafford. So, I agree with everything Matt said there. I do think the Patriots offense will get on track here, score 30-something points against the Lions here. And Stafford, the Detroit Lions defense just hasn't came to play at all this season. So Stafford's going to be in a lot of shootouts and a lot of catch-up mode for this year. And then my quarterback number 3 that I'm starting, I'm going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G. He's playing against Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is going to light it up. We already know that's going to happen.
He's going to have to throw the ball up.
Take that as fact. It's going to happen. So now, Pat Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to find a way to keep up and try to keep that a game with this high-flying Chiefs offense.
I think it's projected to be one of the highest-scoring games this week, similar to like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
54.5 over/under.
I'll probably go over the way. I think 54. Kansas City can easily get 54 probably the way their offense is going. And I hope Bud's listening, FOTP listening, because
he said I might have a trash jersey on again.
Number 5 is my start. Number 3, baby, Blake Bortles, the B train. Okay, look, he had a career game last week. The boat had a career game last week, and he's playing against the Tennessee Titans. Look.
Can you explain this boat thing for me?
I don't know.
Is that like best of all time instead of greatest of all time?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or Bortles of all time?
I don't know. I don't know.
If the listener has the answer, type it in.
Let us know, because I just saw that on the internet.
Jacksonville, and I don't get it.
I just saw that on the internet. But look, so here's a little fun fact, guys. In the games Fournette isn't playing, which he's not. We just got the alert. He's been averaging around 25 fantasy points per game. So I do expect them to be throwing the ball. I think he gets 242 yards. I think he gets about around 35 rushing yards. I think he gets 2 touchdowns. Lock in for about another 20-plus point game. So ride with Blake Bortles. He's very cheap and daily as well. All in with the boat.
You got to say ride with 5.
Ride
the way Bud
with
and Anthony
5.
say it.
With Duval till we die.
Oh, Bodles.
Bodles.
Josh just came in with the Bodles instead of Bortles.
Anyways, running back starts. So, Josh, if you're listening to this, I'm about to compliment your team. Giovanni Bernard is my first running back start of this week.
I had him listed as a start as well. I'm all for Giovanni.
Look at this. I'm a fact guy. I like to find weird, cool facts here. So look in the sample size, guys. Sample size in 29 games in which Bernard has 15-plus touches. He's scored at least 10 fantasy points per game in 23 of those 29 games. He does have a little tough matchup against the Carolina Panthers, who kind of held Zeke, and they kind of held Telvin Coleman a little bit in check. But I do expect all the touches to go to Giovanni Bernard. He's just shooing maybe 3-4 catches.
Exactly.
So I think he's going to have a really good game. So 107 total yards and 3 catches.
Does he score?
I don't think he scores.
Okay. I'm completely on board with that sentiment. I'm starting Giovanni Bernard. I'm with you there. He was one of my starts too, but I have several listed. I actually have 5 running back starts this week. I love the running backs this week. So 100% I'm there with you on Giovanni Bernard. At this point, if Fournette's out and Yeldon's the guy, I'm starting Yeldon too.
Yeah.
I think he's a shoe-in to get a couple catches.
I
think they'll have a little bit more success running the ball.
To me, he's a better catcher than Fournette. Just to me, he's the most natural catcher.
Yeah. He's definitely going to be. They'll have more success running the ball this week than they had previously last week. Plus, he'll get the catches, and Corey Grant will get worked into. He'll have a nice game with his catches as well. But anyways, Yeldon will also start for me in the absence of Leonard Fournette. And then I'll just roll into a second one here. I'm firing up Matt Breida again. I think Breida is the guy here in San Francisco. So Matt Breida, top 20 running back this week. I'm loading him up. Going to catch passes. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
I agree.
And Breida will find the end zone for you.
Great. Breida's actually my third. Just a little fun fact off of just the Chiefs' defense alone. They've given up 9 fantasy points on just receiving alone against opposing running backs.
Well, they gave up a lot to Gordon, Austin Eckler.
They played Gordon, Eckler, and James Conner. So add that with the rushing.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a great game.
Conner had 13 rushing yards or something last week.
Yeah, but they catching.
He did all his work in catching.
So I do think Breida gets 13 carries to 75 yards, 3 receptions for 29. I don't have him as a touchdown, but he's very well can easily get a touchdown. So I like Breida a lot this week. He's in one of my daily leagues. He's very cheap in daily too. So one thing about daily, I don't think they don't adjust their pricings when like stuff out. He's like in the $6,000 range, which is really cheap for a running back. But so tie that into mine. Theo Riddick for the Lions is going to be my start number 2, I guess 3 in this case. So despite the rough start for the Lions, Theo Riddick is tied with Golden Tate and with receptions with 14. Matthew Stafford likes to throw to Theo Riddick. They're going to be a catch-up mode a lot. So I think Theo Riddick's going to get a lot of catches. I think he gets 11 targets. I think he gets 8 catches for about 52 yards. He could easily score. I don't see it, but just the receiving alone could be a really good fantasy week for Theo Riddick.
Yeah, I actually have 2 more starts, and I'm just going to throw them both at you. It's Corey Clement with J.J. missing time. Darren Sproles is out. Clement is going to get the bulk of the workload. Small will get a little bit there.
Be hesitant. There is a hamstring tightness in his hamstring. Doug Peterson said he's not going to work him in, so he very well can get maybe 20 snaps. You just don't know. But the matchup is going to be there.
The matchup's there. Mm-hmm. I have faith in this player. Yeah. He'll have a big week this week. And Austin Eckler is my last one here with the Rams, or with the Chargers going against the Rams. I do expect the Rams to pull ahead. Like you said, it's going to be kind of a blowout. You think? I pretty much agree. I do think the Chargers will keep it relatively close, maybe lose by 10 or so in the end. But Eckler will get a bunch of pass catching.
Ask me this question. I think people try and get too cute here. You always start your studs, but I know you're a Melvin Gordon owner. Are you hesitant in?
Melvin Gordon's my number 3 running back this week.
Okay.
I got him ahead of Elliott. So I'm playing Gordon. I have no.
I mean, obviously, you play Gordon no matter what, and he's proven to be a good receiver.
Gordon has shown this year. He's done as much, if not more, in the passing game than he has.
And it seems like Philip Rivers really targeting him. So I do think Melvin Gordon doesn't rush that many yards this week. I think he's going to get held in check in rushing, but I think this fantasy day is going to be saved with the pass catching. Right. I think Keenan Allen's going to have another great game. They're going to all get targets because they're going to be down for so much, but. Yep.
Before we move on to wide receivers here, the Fantasy Ogre came in with a comment and asked, I guess you guys play each other in our home league this week?
I do.
He asked, who do you think's going to win, you or him?
I'm scared of I told Scott I'm scared of my running backs, my matchups and my running backs. I do got Deion Lewis, and I'm starting Jordan Wilkins. Those are my only 2 concerns. Other than that, my other positions are really tight. I am scared of Giovanni Bernard. Not really scared of Deshaun Watson. I do think if whoever wins is going to be a really close game. I think it's going to come down to the Sunday night game or stuff like that. Something about me, all my players are done after the 4:00 game, so I have to wait, which I hate waiting, especially if it's close. So I don't know. A toss-up right now. I have to be realist. I got to be an analyst. I think Josh might pull this out because I just think his matches are a little bit better. But I'm having faith in Jordan Wilkins. And I'm having faith in Deion Lewis. I think they're going to play a lot of catch-up. I think they're going to get some work. I'm hoping they just get touchdowns and just give me 10, 15 points each. But I think Josh will win this week, but obviously I hope he doesn't. So anyways, okay, going to my wide receivers. I got to be real here, guys. I can't be biased here. Scott's biased in his projections, but I'm 100% real. 100% real. That's my motto. Okay. Going to my wide receiver 1 start. Will Fuller. Good. This guy catches touchdowns, guys. All he does is catching touchdowns. It's insane. He's a touchdown machine with Washington. Look, but the one thing that I'm really liking, on 9 targets last week, he caught 8 of them. So they're using him a lot more. It's not like DeAndre Hopkins getting 14 targets and then Fuller's getting 3 targets and one's like a long touchdown. No, they're using Fuller as a complement to Hopkins. So if he doesn't score, he still has good fantasy days, and especially when he's healthy. He's going up against he is going up against a second-rate pass defense, but I do think that's going to kind of be a close shootout game. So I think he's going to have a good game. I think he gets 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown.
No bias here, guys. Brandon Cooks, start him.
That's a bias. That's biased.
Start wide receiver 1 this week. I love the usage that he's been getting the first 2 weeks of the season here with the, plenty of looks coming from Goff here. He seems like he's the wide receiver 1 in this offense. I'm expecting a minimum of 8 to 9 targets here. He hasn't found the end zone yet, but he does in week 3. Brandon Cooks, my wide receiver start this week, number 1. Oh, whoa. I'm going to slam you with a double homer pick here. Sammy Watkins, my wide receiver start number 2.
He had a really good week last week. I'm really impressed.
Last week, 6 for 100. He had a great game. Didn't find the end zone, but the big plays are there with him. He finds the end zone in week 3 as well as Brandon Cooks. He finds the end zone. He's my wide receiver start this week. He goes for another 6 catches, close to 100 yards, and finds the end zone.
Yeah, you're biased. This guy's biased.
My very unbiased 2 starts this
He's
week.
a Skip Bayless of this show, and I'm Shannon Sharp. Come on, Skip!
However,
Come on,
you do
Skip.
have to admit I have the right matchups this week to be biased.
Yeah, the matches are good. Matches are good, I gotta agree. And Sammy Watkins had a great game last week, I gotta admit. Okay. Devin Funchess, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, is my start number 2. So look, guys,
Yeah?
Greg Olson's out. Okay, when Greg Olson was out in week 1, he posted a stat line of 7 catches for 77 yards. I have him getting a similar stat line to that. I think he finds the end zone. I think he gets 8 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Look, they're going to have to throw to someone. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey, probably going to be Devin Funchess, okay? Those 2 guys are probably going to get the majority of the target increase with Greg Olson out. I do like Devin Funchess a lot this week, especially in daily 2. He's kind of in the mid-range in terms of price. So start Devin Funchess, guys. What do you think about that? You start guys about that one?
I will be talking about Devin Funchess a little bit later, guys.
Is that your glory pick of the week?
No.
No? Okay.
Nope. Another segment.
Sit? Oh, wow, okay.
So my wide receiver start number 3, which is really my start number 2, but I had to get Sammy Watkins talking there. Kenny Galladay. He has taken over from Marvin Jones. He's the most targeted receiver.
I told this before the draft. I'm like, Scott,
the most targeted receiver in this offense. They're playing against New England Patriots. They're going to be down. They're going to have to score. Galladay is going to get 10-plus targets in this game, and he'll score a touchdown for you. Galladay, big week 3.
I do like Galladay, but my only concern is that he is getting the most targets, but he's not getting the most receptions. So that's the thing. But Stafford is throwing the ball deep to him, and he's, as I said, I thought in the beginning of the season that Marvin Jones was not going to be the guy anymore. Galladay's kind of taken over. So I kind of have a group on this one. 49ers wide receivers. Pettis, Garcon, and Goodwin, but Goodwin's probably not going to play, so it'll be Pettis, Garcon, and whoever's the other third receiver going to be. Look, Kansas City is ranked dead last in pass defense. They have allowed 5 different receivers to either score or get 80-plus yards. It wouldn't be a surprise if all 3 of them get either a score or 80-plus yards. So my projection for Garcon is 6 for 92 and a touchdown. Projection for Pettis would be 3 to 5 catches for like 45 to 50 yards and a touchdown. I think a good one if he does play, which I don't think he will, 5 for 81.
So we got a question from the Fantasy Ogre here. Do we think Ian Thomas will get 10-plus fantasy points this week? PPR scoring.
Ian Thomas. I don't even know who that
He's
guy
a
is.
tight end replacement for Greg Olson.
No.
I think it's going to come down to if he finds the end zone.
He might get a touchdown, but
I
I didn't even know who Ian Thomas was.
Yeah, I think you're safe with 6 to 7 points, but if he finds the end zone, he'll get you over 10. Another question here from a listener. Should I start Phillip Lindsay, Denver Broncos running back, or Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray.
I'm starting Latavius Murray as well. Broncos fan here. Latavius Murray, I'm loading him up. He's in for a big workload this week. And the Broncos said they're going to ride the hot hand here. Lindsey's had the hot hand the first 2 weeks, but maybe week 3 it's Royce Freeman. The Baltimore Ravens defense is pretty stout against the run, so I imagine they'll bottle Lindsey up pretty good.
Latavius Murray is already, to me, was like a borderline flex play to begin, even with Dalvin Cook in there.
Right.
And then the fact that Dalvin Cook's not even going to play,
Yep.
And I do think they're going to move the ball easily. He easily can get a chance to get some goal line carries and a touchdown.
Plenty of opportunity here in this game to chew out the clock, too, in the second half.
Yeah, so absolutely start Latavius Murray. I'm actually starting Latavius Murray in 2 of my daily leagues, so that's how high I'm on him. But keep up the questions coming. I like it. So speaking of, did you get your third one yet? Or was that your third one?
We're in tight end starts.
Speaking of Vikings, I'm starting the tight end for the Vikings. He's in one of my starts this week. Kyle Rudolph. Look, great game last week. He posted 14 points, fantasy points last week. The matchup was really good against the Bills. But the key statistic that I'm looking for in looking at Kyle Rudolph is the Bills are absolutely horrendous in the slot. They have surrendered 2 touchdowns already in the last 2 weeks. So it's a touchdown a game to a slot receivers. Rudolph roughly runs about 40 snaps last week in the slot. So they use him in the slot a lot. I do expect him to score this week. Kirk Cousins seems to be throwing the ball in the red zone area. So 4 for 47 and 1 touchdown is my projection for Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, speaking of the Vikings, guys, Kyle Rudolph is a start for me this week as well. We're going to load Kyle Rudolph up. He finds the end zone again. I like your projection there, 4 for 47 touchdowns. About where I was at with him as well. So Rudolph start this week, and then I'll roll it into another one. Just to give you another name, Eric Ebron, guys. He's been actually used. He's scored touchdowns both.
And
the first
Jack
2
Doyle
weeks.
is out.
And like you said, Jack Doyle's out. That was the main holdup for Eric Ebron's value for me this season. So now we get to see what Ebron is showcased like if he was the tight end one here. I'm expecting a big game, 100 total yards from Eric Ebron in week 3.
I agree. Wait, 100 total yards. Do you think he's going to rush?
100 receiving yards.
How many catches do you think?
6 or 7.
It seems like Andrew Luck really looks for Eric Ebron too. So anybody got touchdowns the last 2 weeks? So he's definitely a touchdown guy too. So Trey Burton, tight end for the Bears. It's my tight end start number 2. I just wanted to say I'm very disappointed in the amount of targets Burton's getting in this offense. I felt like he should be a little bit more, but he's making most of what he's getting. Got a touchdown last week. He should have got the touchdown in the opener. Scott talked about it. Parting of the seas. Right there was Burton, but for some reason Trubisky was not looking for him. He's going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who are atrocious against fantasy tight ends, guys. They've been averaging 14 fantasy points per game against opposing tight ends. I think that's a lock for Burton this week. This game's going to be a blowout, so I think they're going to be up quick, and then that's it. So I think 5 catches, 44 yards, and I think he gets a touchdown. So 5 for 44 and 1.
Yep, no, I love the Burton call. I think he's in for a good week this week as well. My 10 and 3, I'm going to go Austin Hooper here against New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't think the catches and yards are necessarily there. Maybe 3 or 4 catches, under 40 yards. But I do think he finds the end zone against the Saints defense. This is actually a 52.5 point spread here, so we're expecting a big game. And somebody's going to find the end zone. I do think Hooper is one of the tight ends that do find the end zone here this week.
I'm actually intrigued. I didn't think about that. He's probably like the lowest end of the tight end scale in terms of pricing in daily, guys. So if you want to ride with him and save money and get like some studs like Odell, who I think is going to have a really good game this week, go for it. So Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end for the Cardinals. A lot of people don't talk about this guy. He kind of has a cool name, Ricky Seals-Jones.
He's a former wide receiver converting to tight end.
But
out of college.
here's a fact here's a stat that I like to throw at you guys. 12 targets in 2 weeks. That's tied with the Gronkowski, and that's tied with Evan Ingram. Okay, they have to throw the ball. This game's going to be a blowout, I expect. So they're going to have to throw. They're going to be chasing points. I expect a lot of garbage time stats here, guys. A lot of garbage time stats. So I think 4 for 42 and 1 touchdown. I do believe Cardinals do score once or twice in this game. So I think Ricky Seals-Jones is going to be one of the touchdown people.
Yeah, no, I like Ricky Seals-Jones' call. He's definitely getting plenty of usage in this offense that hasn't been doing anything, so they got to get this thing going.
Speaking of the Arizona Cardinals offense, what is up with them? David Johnson and everything, man.
Yeah, and then they get the Bears this week, so good luck turning that around in week 3. Question from a listener here we got. Does Hyde's worth go up with Baker? Absolutely. There'd be more space in between the tackles there for him to run, but more importantly, I think there's more scoring opportunities, more time.
Yeah, they're going to move the ball a little bit more.
He did score 2 touchdowns in this previous game.
I actually had Hyde as a sit in the article.
I sat Hyde. I had that lineup decision. I have no running backs. I'm like LaShawn McCoy, Derrick Henry type, and I pulled Hyde out of my lineup.
Practically my team.
Because he was with his wife before the game, who was giving birth.
That's why I should have started.
Yeah,
Every time
he
the
was
players,
giving birth, and I'm like, that dude's gonna be distracted.
every time a player has a baby on the day they're playing a game, they always go off. I should have known this. I should have known this. So I'm sorry for anyone that reads my article.
Yep.
Okay.
So thanks,
I'm sorry.
Sleeperbot, for telling me that and making me go and pull Hyde out of there.
I'm so sorry for anyone that
I think
listens.
my
to me.
wife had a little bit to go with that decision because she was on my case. If I'm pregnant and you were playing football, there is no way you're leaving me to go play a football game. I don't even care if it's $850,000 game check. You're not playing.
Oh, yeah. She says that now. Come on. $1 million game check, please. Please. All right.
Yes, Josh, Fantasy Ogre. Dalvin Cook is out. He is not playing this week. That was something that came down,
On
Friday?
Monday.
Friday was Friday or Thursday.
Well, it was early this week where
officially out. Yeah, he's been out for a while. But let me check to see if Corey, we got to figure out a nickname, the Fantasy Rafi, if the Fantasy Rafi here still has him in his lineup.
All right, so while Scott's looking at that.
He still does.
Sweet.
Good thing you don't watch the show.
Yeah, I know. What a jerk. Okay. Dan Bailey, kicker for
Hamstring injury.
Kicker for the Vikings, going to be my start for the kicker position. Look, he's the second most accurate kicker in the NFL. He's on a high-powered offense. He will kick field goals. He'll kick extra point. That's slim, plain and simple, guys. Plain and simple. Nothing to really explain here.
Dan Bailey, waiver wire kicker pickup of the week as well.
I dropped him, but go pick him up. 2 for 2, 3 extra points is my projection.
Yep, nope, I'm with you, Dan Bailey. He's my kicker of the week as well. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot to say. I think there's plenty of opportunities for the Vikings to score here, and not really a need to score touchdowns and keep the foot on the gas.
Speaking of kicker, my kicker last week got me 21 points.
Yeah, my kicker last week got me 0.
Greg Zuerlein. Oh, man. There's another quick kicker that I'm really high on, especially in daily, is Cody Parker of the Bears. I think that game's going to be a blowout. Going to be a lot of opportunities to kick field goals. I do have 2 for 2 for 4 extra points, though. Going into our defense, my streaming defense of the week, regardless of formats, dynasty, redraft, daily, is the Dallas Cowboys. My streaming defense of the week. Look, Russell Wilson deserves way better than this offense line he's giving him. Okay, Cowboys sacked Eli 6 times last week, and I think they get roughly the same against the Seahawks and their atrocious offensive line. Seahawks have already given up 12 sacks in 2 weeks. I don't like Russell Wilson's odds. I think the projection for the Dallas Cowboys defense is going to be 21 points allowed, 5 sacks, and 2 turnovers. Streaming all in on the Dallas Cowboys defense.
I like that call. Just throw you another defense out there. I'm going to go Baltimore against Denver. Yeah, Denver's offense is better. And Denver offense, it looks like they've scored some points. But you know what? Case Keenum has been a turnover machine through 2 weeks of the season. So Baltimore Ravens, load them up. Don't even concern yourself with this game. Actually, as a Broncos fan, I do think the Ravens win this one pretty handedly.
All right. Another quick defense I'm going to throw out is the Bears. I think it's going to be offense is atrocious in Arizona. This is going to be a blowout. And here's my bold prediction. 10 points allowed, 4 sacks, 2 from Khalil Mack. 2 from Khalil Mack, 3 turnovers.
Vikings or Chicago? Minnesota or Chicago, which defense you like better this week? Minnesota plays Buffalo.
Minnesota.
Okay.
I don't trust Josh Allen. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen Sam Bradford on his hot good days, and he's really good.
Fair enough.
You know?
I have that lineup decision, so I was just wondering where you were going to land on that.
No, I mean, I just go with the rookie quarterback. LaShawn McCoy's not going to play. There's no weapons on there. At least on the Arizona Cardinals, those weapons. You got Christian Kirk, you got Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, David Johnson's still there.
David Johnson. Your boy RSJ.
RSJ, Ricky Seals-Jones. So, anyways, that's our start, guys. Going to our sits. If you want to read the more in-depth of my starts, Big Cat Country. Brian Fuller and I are doing a collaboration throughout the season, so check out Big Cat Country. Fantasy Life segment. Fantasy Life. All right, so our sit. Going to our sit, my first sit. It's Dak Prescott, my boy Dak Prescott, my favorite team, Dak Prescott. So listen, guys, he isn't the quarterback that everyone thought he was he was in his rookie. He was spoiled in his rookie season. Look, he played well against the Giants, but he only got 14 points or 14.9 if you do the decimals in fantasy. In the last 10 games, Prescott failed to get 15 fantasy points in 9 of them. All right, I sit him every week until he's proven otherwise. I think the offense is going to run through Zeke. And I'm not comfortable in that the pass catching of the Cowboys. You know, I got Cole Beasley, who has a hamstring, who's going to play. But until I see someone else proven to be a consistent pass catcher, I'm holding off on Dak Prescott.
You know, it's good to know Cole Beasley has a hamstring, but I wish he had 2.
Yeah, he has 2 hamstrings.
My first sit this week is going to be Cam Newton. Coming, Cincinnati, they had an impressive outing in week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens and Joe Flacco. I liked what I saw out of that defense. They had extra time to rest, extra time to prepare, coming from last week Thursday all the way to this week Sunday. I do think they're going to hold Cam Newton pretty steady there, so I'm guessing about 200 yards passing, maybe 50 rushing yards, and only 1 touchdown for Cam Newton this week.
I think Cam Newton's actually having a good game, I think, but I can understand why you're sitting him. So, number 2. Now, this is a guy that you drafted pretty high up in probably in the 10th round, probably in redraft leagues, but I think you need to find a streaming option. Talk about Phillip Rivers, guys. I'm sitting Phillip Rivers this week.
You don't think he'll make his due in junk time?
He'll probably make some dues in his junk time, but I don't think it's going to be worth your while. So look, depending on the size of your league, you're probably going to have to start Phillip Rivers, but you need to temper your expectations on Phillip Rivers this week. The Rams haven't allowed a passing touchdown in both of their games this week. Both of their games haven't allowed a passing touchdown. That's the Derek Carr and Sam Bradford, right?
So they're due for regression.
They're due for a little bit of regression, right? I do think Rivers breaks that streak, okay? Don't get me wrong. So my projections for Rivers is 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I do think there's going to be a lot of turnovers from Rivers. Rivers is going to try to come back. They're going to throw the ball. You know, Rivers is a gunslinger to begin with. So
he likes throws.
I think Marcus Peters is going to get a pick. I'm going to be surprised if the Rams defense gets a defensive touchdown too. So I'm really high on the defense as well. So sit Phillip Rivers and find a better option, a cheaper value, maybe Andy Dalton in your redraft leagues.
All right, so Carson Wentz, he's coming back, right? We're going to get him in our lineups. He's the MVP. Was going to be the MVP last year before his injury. He was lighting the world on fire. Slow your roll here. Sit him this week. He's going to have some rust he's got to knock off. We saw what Andrew Luck looked like in the preseason versus the regular season. There's a little bit of transition period there. So Carson Wentz, yes, it's exciting. Yes, the Eagles will be better with him than they are with Napoleon Dynamite. What's his name? Nick Foles. Napoleon Dynamite there. So Carson Wentz, I'm sitting him this week. He's only going to have 200 yards passing, no touchdowns.
One thing I want to talk about in Carson Wentz over Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck did have a shoulder injury, so throwing the ball is a little bit different.
Well, it's
Carson
ACL
Wentz,
too.
I know, but if anyone could turn it around in terms of just go from not playing to having a great game statistically, it could be Carson Wentz. That offense is really favored towards him. So,
well, you got all them injuries at wide receiver. Now you got J.J. out. You got injuries at running back. There's injuries everywhere.
Yeah, I do. But I think that boosts his Elgalar and then boosts his Ertz. So
and recently acquired Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, who was on the Eagles before too, wasn't
he? Yeah, he had a nice little rapport with Carson Wentz.
All right,
shipped to Buffalo.
Marcus Mariota / Blaine Gabbert. So in this case, it's going to be Blaine Gabbert, who's projected to start this week. Mariota is going to be the backup. Apparently, they're going to test it pregame and see if he can grip the ball. Anyways, against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, guys. Jaguars defense at home is unstoppable. They have allowed 1 top 15 performance on their home field to 2017. Scott, you want to guess who that was?
One what?
They have allowed 1 top 15 fantasy performance at the quarterback position since 2017 when they played at home. You want to guess who that was?
Last year against Tennessee, Marcus Mariota?
No.
Oh, no,
at home. At home.
That was at home. They lit him up at home. Here.
No, it wasn't fit. Mariota didn't have 15 points per games.
Well, I don't know. I just
Russell Wilson
lit him up.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Russell Wilson.
In junk time.
But anyways, my projection for Blaine Gabbert will be 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah. I don't even have him ranked inside my top 20. I have no interest in playing Blaine Gabbert or Marcus Mariota this week, so completely agree with that sit. Good call. My last sit, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. He's looked fine, but he hasn't looked lights on fire great.
What was up with that holding the ball for 15 seconds?
Dude, that was dumb.
They were at the 50-yard line, down by 1. They needed about 15 more yards to get in field goal range. The guy holds the ball for 15 seconds and then throws the ball in the middle of the field after the time was called. That was so stupid.
Yep. It actually got a superintendent fired there in Texas, but I won't go into it because I like my job and I won't be fired. But anyways, Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Watson, bonehead play there. He just hasn't looked lights on fire this year like he did in his 8 games previous year. Defenses seem to have caught up to him a little bit here. He'll have a nice game for you, but he's not going to be Pat Mahomes, 40, 50 points for your fantasy team. So I'll set Deshaun Watson this week.
Yeah, I don't know what. I still can't head scratcher on that. Just holding the ball that long. Does not know clock management. You're a quarterback, supposed to look at the clock. Heading into our running back position, one of my guys, LaShawn McCoy, guys. I'm sitting LaShawn McCoy. I am starting him with the guy that I've been high on throughout the season, throughout the preseason, throughout the draft, Jordan Wilkins. Well, look, so McCoy, he's so unlucky, by the way. He got an offensive lineman to fall on top of him, and he broke some cartilage, whatever that is, in his ribs. So he has played through that before, and I just got report that he's not even going to play, so this doesn't even matter. But look, the offense is dreadful. They're going up against the Vikings, so one of the best defenses in the league. I expect a blowout. I think just like week 1, they're gonna, if McCoy does play, he said they're gonna pre-test his his status at the pregame. But anyways, I expect the Bills to be down a lot. I don't think McCoy, even if he does play, doesn't play the whole game. Sorry,
going into this theme of Matt's players here, and we're sitting them. Derrick Henry sits for me this week.
Me too.
You got to sit him. He's playing against Jacksonville Jaguars. They're a tough run defense. They're going to stifle that offensive.
He always plays good against the Jags for some reason.
But Conklin, I believe Conklin's out, and Lewan is coming off injury. So they're 2 tackles. If they do play, they're coming off injury. But I do believe Conklin's out this week. I'll have to verify that. But either way, tough matchup this week. Blaine Gabbert's quarterback. We're projecting. And even if Mariota does, he's probably not 100% there with his elbow nerve injury. So I think they'll stack the box up against the Titans here. I think Deion Lewis is the play in this backfield, not Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry, sit for me this week.
He's actually my sit too. But let me just connect to what Scott's saying. So there's two things you want to know here. The matchup is horrible. And 2, look at the game script. So look at week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. That long, delayed game. They were down majority of that game. They were catching up, chasing points. So they used a lot of Deion Lewis. Game 2, game strip. They were up. Run the ball a lot of Derrick Henry. So therefore, I'm expecting game strip. Jags are going to be up. They're going to be down. They'll be chasing points. A lot of Deion Lewis. A lot of pass catching out of the backfield for Deion Lewis. So that being said, I don't like Henry. 14 carries, 45 yards, 1 reception for 5 yards is my projection for Derrick Henry. Tying into my 3rd running back I'm sitting is Alex Collins. Look, Buck Allen isn't going away. Is not going away. It's like a thorn in Alex Collins' side. They received the same amount of touches last week, and he's a better pass catcher. And look, he's also getting goal line work, Allen is.
Back Allen.
So I don't know what Jim Harbaugh, I don't know, he's worried about the fumbling issue.
John
Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, whatever. You're both trash. So
they're both great. They're both excellent coaches.
Okay.
See, Collins, the big back, right? So Buck Allen, all right, he's a better pass catcher. We'll give Buck Allen the pass catching. Collins will be the touchdown maker. Psych, because Buck Allen gets put in the goal line, like you said. Yeah. So where's Collins' points coming from? What are they going to do? At this point, Buck Allen is the most fantasy prevalent running back in this offense until something changes. And
the Broncos are giving up the 8th fewest fantasy points per game against opposing running backs. So I have my 17 total touches for 92 yards, about 2 to 3 receptions for Alex Collins. So it's a so-so day at the office, but not something that you want your starting running back to have. So, anyways.
He was also a sit for me, so I'll just tie into you. We both talked about it there, sit number 2 for me. And then my 3rd sit, I'm going Phillip Lindsay this week. First 2 weeks, lights on fire, 100 total yards in both games. First undrafted player to do that in his first 2 games in NFL history. However, Baltimore Ravens, they're a tough stout run defense. Lindsey's a little guy, similar to me in stature, but a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger? Just a little bit?
Quite significantly bigger, but still under 200 pounds, so I don't
You're under 150, aren't you?
I'm like 152. We'll weigh myself. I'll prove it. I'll prove it to you when we get done with this.
Okay.
But anyways, Lindsey's a sit for me this week. I think Freeman might be a little bit better suited to run against this Baltimore Ravens defense, being a bigger guy and able to bang it in there in between the tackles. So Lindsey is a sit for me in week 3.
I mean, Lindsey, nice story though. That's a really cool story for Lindsey.
And he's from Colorado, he's from the Denver area, and then went to college at Colorado State, and then he goes to the Broncos, grew up idolizing Terrell Davis, asked Terrell Davis permission to wear the number 30 there in Denver. Terrell Davis obviously grants it to him, tells him he better be great in it. And through 2 weeks, he's looked excellent.
How do you feel about like people wearing like other players' unis?
It depends on the player and everything. Like, nobody ever will wear 7 in Denver.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever wear 7 in Denver. But when you go to college, I mean, you can't really block numbers in college.
Yeah, but like in the NFL, you can. No.
So there's certain numbers. It just depends on the franchise. There's certain numbers that you don't wear.
Do you think like Miami Heat, for example, they blocked any player to wear 23. Like that's 23. Because Jordan, it's no longer like no one can wear it. You think an NFL team will ever do that for like a great player, maybe like an Aaron Rodgers one day or like a Tom Brady? No, that's
no. I think the NFL is more a team, an owner, and GM league, whereas the NBA is a player league. Like it's all players. So I think that aspect of it will leave it so that that. It'll be team specific, but if there were a player, it'd be number 12 for Tom Brady.
Yeah, or Aaron Rodgers too, whatever.
But it'd be team specific in the NFL. That's all.
Going to the wide receivers. So Larry Fitzgerald's going to be my wide receiver 1 that I'm sitting this week. Sitting. He's a future Hall of Famer, but Sam Bradford is just really atrocious. He's not giving him a ball. He's coming off a hurt hamstring, so he's not going to be 100%. And the Bears are one of the toughest matchups to go against. So tempered expectations, 6 catches for 56 yards. It could easily be a lot lower than that as well because I think this game could be blowout. They might pull him to save his hamstring. So sit Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald, my wide receiver, sit number 1 this week as well.
Gosh, we're on fire today, man.
Yeah,
and we did not come together, guys. This is
nope.
I got here about 8:30. Scott was still waking up, got up on front of the camera, and just started the show.
Yep, so Larry Fitzgerald, sit for me this week. Like I said, he's coming off a hamstring injury. I do think they want to work David Johnson more on the outside in the passing game, get him running some routes in the slot. I hope that happens. We'll see. But I do think Fitzgerald's ceiling is lower due to his injury and just the game flow that I expect for this week against the Bears. But I'll just roll it into wide receiver 2 for me that I'm sitting. It's Amari Cooper. Two words, Xavier Howard. He's going to shut down Amari Cooper this week.
Amari Cooper, man. You're
under
so
50
high.
yards.
You're so hard.
I still really like Amari Cooper. I just think this is a tough matchup. Xavier Howard is a very underrated cornerback in this league, and he's gonna shut Amari Cooper down.
All right, you heard it from here. Heard it from Fans Leprechaun. Brandon Marshall, a wide receiver for the Seahawks. Look, he's a touchdown-dependent player until proven otherwise. He had 4 catches for 44 yards on only 6 targets, which isn't really good. A receiver of his stature needs targets, needs opportunities to score. Tyler Lockett is the guy you want to own until Doug Baldwin comes back. If he does come back, you don't even know at this point. But until he gets a touchdown, look, so the Cowboys' defense is pretty tough. Look, they haven't gave up a touchdown or more than 52 yards this season, and that's even going up against Odell. They held Odell in check. I think that front 7 is going to do a really good job getting to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's not going to have time to throw the ball to Brandon Marshall. So 3 catches for 46 yards.
Yeah, I like that call. My wide receiver sit this week, number 3, is Devontae Parker. I'm sitting Devontae Parker this week. He's coming off his finger injury. Kenny Stills is the wide receiver 1 there. Parker is the more vaunted name that everybody is talking about, everybody's sexy appeal about Devontae Parker, but he hasn't done it. This is his 4th year. He still hasn't done it. I don't see any reason for him to change anything to do it. It's a good matchup against Oakland, but we're sitting him this week, coming off injury. He just hasn't been around the team. I think he gets 2 catches for 20 yards max.
Wow, that's a pretty bold projection right there. Mike Williams, wide receiver for the Chargers. 3rd sit. Don't like the matchup. He's generated a lot of buzz, got 10-plus fantasy points in the last 2 weeks. I don't expect that type of performance against the Los Angeles Rams. I expect a lot of Marcus Peters showering him. Even with his red zone skills, I do expect a dud game. So 3 catches for 26 yards for Mike Williams.
Bonus sit. Devin Funchess. I'm sitting Devin Funchess this week. DJ Moore, I think he'll get more involved. The Bengals, they shut down Michael Crabtree last week pretty well. I do think Devin Funchess' game mirrors a little bit there of Michael Crabtree. So I do think that the defense will have success stopping Funchess. And I don't think Funchess is an overly great talent. I think when Olsen's out, his target, his volume makes him have good fantasy numbers. But I do think the ceiling here is tempered. I'm going to go 4 for 80 for Devin Funchess this week.
We'll see who's going to be right. I have him as a start. You have him at sit. We'll see who gets it right. You want to start with the tight ends?
Yeah, tight end sit for me is number 1 here is Tyler Eifert. I'm sitting Tyler Eifert.
That's another one.
He's just not on the field, guys. They're using Uzuma.
7 targets in the last 2 games.
Right.
7 targets last 2 games.
He comes in situationally. He's a tight end or bust tight end. He does not find the end zone this week. Kuechly will keep him out. That Carolina Panthers defense keeps him out of the end zone.
Another little fun fact is that he runs primarily in the slot, and the Carolina Panthers defense have not given up a touchdown in the slot this season.
Yeah. I would expect Tyler Boyd to have a better game out of the slot than Eifert this
3
week.
for 18 is my projection. That's how low I am on him.
Yep.
And I think that's being a little bit over optimistic. He could very well just get like 1 catch for like 7 yards. But
yeah. No, I'm with you. Tyler Eifert completely sit for me.
Tying next to my tight end, Tyler Eifert was my 1, so I'm not going to say anything more. Charles Clay, Bills tight end for the Bills.
Yep.
Look,
I don't even have him ranked, so I'm with you there.
He used to be a stud PPR guy, but Josh Allen isn't really targeting him. He's 31st in targets at his position. 31st in targets in his position. 32 teams. 31st, okay? He's only been on the field for 66% of the plays, so he's not even on the field a lot of times. So going up against a really tough matchup in the Vikings, I don't expect the Bills to score a lot of points.
If any.
If any. They're probably Chris Ivory.
They'll kick a field goal.
Chris Ivory will probably get a goal line carry, and usually how it works.
Or Marcus Murphy.
Marcus Murphy. I have both, by the way. 3 for 39. 3 catches for 39 yards is my projection.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Sit number 2 for me, Jonnu Smith. Titans tight end coming in for Delaney Walker. Going against Jaguars defense. I mean, that's all I got to say. They're playing the Jags defense. So Jonnu Smith.
Who held Rob Gronkowski in check, guys. So just get up. That's how good they are.
Jonnu Smith, 1 catch, 7 yards. That's all he gets.
That's probably more optimistic, too, to be honest with you.
I almost said 0 catches there. I really did, but I was like, I'll give him down to 1 catch.
This hurts me a little bit. ASJ hurts me right here. Look, got a touchdown last week. It was awesome, but he's a touchdown-dependent tight end. The matchup isn't great. The Titans in the last 18 games have given up only 5 touchdowns to the tight end position. So I'm staying away from him. I don't like the matchup. They're not giving him enough targets. Sit ASJ this week.
Yep, and I'm going to go with Mr. Will Dissly here.
Dissly.
Yep. New phone. Who Dissly?
That was a good one.
Yeah, I stole that from you, Mike, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, Will Dissly, I'm sitting him this week. I think Dallas, they'll be able to hold the tight ends there pretty good. I think they tempered Evan Ingram last week. They held him to a pretty subpar game. And Dissly is nowhere near the talent Evan Ingram is. So Dissly, to me, I'm sitting him this week. I think the 2 touchdowns he had the previous week are kind of aberrations and not the norm, not what to expect going forward. So sitting Will Dissly.
Dissly. All right, going to the defense. Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Look, until I'm proven otherwise, I'm staying away from the Bucs offense.
Yes.
Simple as that. Okay? Look, in 2 games, the Bucs opponents' defense, okay, have only averaged 1 point per game. Just 1 point. What happened?
The Fantasy Ogre wants to know how can you sit your number 1 overall tight end? ASJ.
Hey, I was expecting Fournette to play, man. It was a bold prediction, too. Bold prediction, guys. Bold means long shot. Not supposed to happen, okay? But it could slightly happen. And like if I
he's
get
a
it
top
right,
10 tight end, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Even though you're calling for the
it's called bold. It was way too early bold predictions. Bold, okay? Sheesh. Man.
He'll never live it down.
Never live it down. It's bold. Being bold.
Jaguar homer.
All right. Bucs opponents only average 1 fantasy points per game. in the two games they played against the Bucks. So stay away from the Steelers defense. So stay away from them. Fitzmagic's going to go off.
Yep, and I'm telling you, last year, New Orleans Saints, one of the best defenses in the NFL. They were a great defense last year, great fantasy defense. This week, stay away from them. Don't play them. Atlanta's going to score 30 points on this team. This is going to be a shootout this week. Take the over on the 52.5. Sit the New Orleans Saints defense, and sit Atlanta's defense, too, while you're at it.
Another little quick defense I'm going to do is Chargers. LA Chargers, look.
Oh, yeah.
Rams offense, they can score a lot of points. But here's a little cool fact, little cool statistic. Opponents of the Rams since 2017 have only averaged 5 fantasy points per game. Put that in perspective. 5 fantasy points per game isn't good stats. My projection, by the way, for the Steelers were 28 points allowed, 2 sacks, 1 turnover. Chargers, 35 points allowed, 2 sacks, 1 turnover. Stay away from the Chargers defense. I'll finish off my sit with the kickers. Adam Vinatieri, I'm going to sit him this week. Andrew Luck, average airtime on his passes is 5 yards. He doesn't throw the ball down the field. I think the Eagles' defense is pretty good. I think he gets 1 for 1, maybe 2 or 3 extra points. Nothing worth your while. Then Matt Prater. This is the product of where he plays. I expect a blowout. I don't think a lot of kicking opportunities for the Lions, so I think it would be 2 for 3 field goals and 2 extra points. Sit Matt Prater.
And I'll use Steven Gostkowski. I'm sitting Steven Gostkowski this week. 5 total points. 5 extra points.
Steven Gostkowski.
No field goals.
The Patriots kicker?
Yes. Patriots kicker. 5 extra points. 5 points total. No field goals.
He's going to be wrong in the first quarter. Watch.
Probably. But I didn't really write down a sit, so that's the one I'm going off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, sheesh.
I like it.
As you say, you can find my start sit on Big Cat Country. Going into our rankings, do you have anything you want to say before we go in the rankings? Anything you want to touch on? Anything from the viewers?
Fantasy Ogre says, boldly wrong.
Okay. All right. Okay. You better hope you lose, Josh. You win, Josh. Because
You better hope ASJ don't set the world on fire and become tight end 1 overall in the second half. For the reference, that little monkey thing there is what Josh does when he gets excited when something goes.
Dwayne Bowe.
Yes, he had Dwayne Bowe for his 15 touchdown season.
But anyway, before we go in the rigs, I want to say,
Taylin, the fantasy cyclops here, buddy. If you have any start sit questions, this is where you send them.
Thank you. And Josh, you better hope you win, because if you lose, I got the text message where you talking crap, talking trash, and you're like, oh, you know how it is when I talk trash. So you better hope you win.
Yeah, he learned his lesson. He'd always start running his mouth.
Way too early.
Way too early. And then he'll blow it in the primetime games or something.
Yeah, anyways, but you better hope that doesn't happen. So let's go to our quarterbacks, guys. So Scott, I'll let you go with your top 5.
Pat Mahomes.
Me too. Pat Mahomes.
Number 1. Multiple touchdowns this week.
Who's your Mahomes?
Could he get 7? He could get 7.
He's not going to get 7.
Could he get 3? He definitely could get 3.
I think 4 total touchdowns. He hasn't yet.
But then he got a rushing touchdown. Oh my
That's my bold prediction. Rushing touchdown for Pat Mahomes.
Yes.
Rushing touchdown.
I love it. I'm there with you.
Call it.
Yep. Number 2.
That's assault, guys. That's assault. Okay. Whatever. Sorry.
Tom Brady.
Nope, that's not number 2
Tom
for me.
Brady, number 2. Aaron Rodgers, number 3. Big Ben, 4. And Kirk Cousins, 5. Which I guess having Kirk Cousins at 5 is a start. I don't know why I didn't recognize that, but you called him as a start this week. Kirk Cousins, 5. I
don't understand. He's my number 2 quarterback, guys. Come on, man.
They're going to be up so fast against this team.
Doesn't matter. He's going to get 3 touchdowns. He's going to be up that way. You think Latavius Murray's going to get 3 touchdowns? No, they're going to throw the ball.
No, the defense will score all the touchdowns, so the offense will
get on the field. In the 2 games I've watched the Vikings, okay, it's more pass-oriented than a lot of people think.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more pass-oriented.
The line ain't very good.
Okay? Kirk Cousins is a gunslinger, so Pat Mahomes, no doubt about it, he's a consensus number 1 to prove otherwise. Kirk Cousins is my number 2, guys. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, then Drew Brees. Drew Brees rounds out my top 5.
6 through 10, I'm going to Larry Fitzgerald.
Wow.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the bearded one. We're going with...
They kind of have the same last name.
Fitz. 7, Drew Brees. 8, Cam Newton. 9, Matthew Stafford. And 10, Deshaun Watson. Just to highlight here, Stafford, I love his matchup this week. Breeze, I got him a little bit lower than I probably usually would, even though I'm expecting a blowout, just because he hasn't really looked great.
I know, he has a couple rough starts this last 2 weeks. So my take will be Big Ben, Ryan Fitzpatrick, both Monday Night Football right there. That's going to be an interesting game. They're both going to have like a shootout, I think.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
That's going to be really fun. Got Cam Newton at number 8, Deshaun Watson number 9, and Jimmy G, but I highlighted Jimmy G because I think he has, out of all the quarterbacks, he has the potential to be at the end of week 3 to be the number 1 quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that he's that good. I think all the receivers are going to have good games. I think that game's going to be like a 42 to 38, something like ridiculous stat line like that. So I like Jimmy G a lot this week.
Yep, no, I agree. Jimmy G is my number 11. I probably should have moved him up to number 8 here, but whatever. Did these rankings last night. So Jimmy G, number 11. Matt Ryan, number 12. Russell Wilson, 13. Andrew Luck, 14. And Jared Goff here at 15. The Rams are going to score a bunch of points in this game. Goff gets 2 touchdowns.
All right. So heading up to my top 15. Be Matthew Stafford.
We have a news alert.
What's that?
Browns will name starting quarterback Monday. Baker Mayfield.
So it's official, Baker Mayfield?
They'll name it Monday.
Wouldn't be surprised if it'd be Tyler.
They should have named it Thursday in the post-game press conference.
Yes. So Matthew Stafford's 11. Matt Ryan. Carson Wentz. I think but the usage, he's probably going to get a couple touchdowns. He probably might get a pick or 2, but Carson Wentz got to be up there. Phillip Rivers, that's how low I am on this week, guys. A guy that's usually in the top 7 is at 14 from me. And then right behind him is the B train. Ride with 5, Blake Bortles, who can easily be breaking the top 5 this week in the matchup. The matchup's so good right there. So what was your 16 through 20?
I got Dalton at 16, Rivers at 17, Wentz at 18. That's how low I am on Wentz this week. Bortles 19, and Alex Smith, I'm doing 20.
So mine 16 is be Andrew Luck, 17 Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to have a good game. I think I'm a Cowboys fan. Our secondary isn't that good, but our front 7 getting to the quarterback is pretty good. Okay, so I think Russell Wilson can get sacked a lot this game.
Their offensive line is just not
atrocious.
Anybody.
It's atrocious. So you have the defense. Start them. Stream the defense of the week. That should be a new segment. Stream of the week. I like it. We should do that.
On the defensive side?
Yeah. Or anything. Just a stream guy. Because, hey, next week's our bye weeks, right? Start filling bye weeks. TBD, guys. To be determined. All right. Alex Smith is 18. 19 is Jared Goff. And I do have Andy Dalton rounding up my top 20. As Scott said, Jared Goff can easily get 2-3 touchdowns, but I do think Todd Gurley kind of like blows off and just gets like 3 rushing touchdowns. That's why I kind of have him a little bit lower than Scott.
No, I completely agree. I have no idea what you said, but I completely agree.
All right, thank you.
All right, running backs, week 3. Number 1 running back this week. So the first 2, I keep flip-flopping them, and I keep getting it backwards. But this week, I'm going to go with Gurley number 1, Kamara number 2. Last week, I had Kamara 1, Gurley 2, and I missed. So Gurley 1, Kamara 2, Gordon 3, Elliott 4, and then James Conner 5.
I have Kamara 1, Gurley 2. Okay.
So one of us will be right.
One of us will be right. Or maybe none of us will.
Well, whatever. One of us will get the Kamara Gurley thing.
All right. Ezekiel Elliott's my 3rd back. Melvin Gordon's my 4th. I would probably put Melvin Gordon, if this was another week, above Ezeke. But Melvin Gordon is going against LA Rams, so to me that kind of dings him a little bit. And number 5 is Christian McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey's going to have a lot of catches. He's kind of like underrated a lot. A lot of people just don't see him as like a rushing guy, but obviously he's not a rushing guy. He's more of a pass catcher. But I like Christian McCaffrey a lot this week.
No, I completely agree. He had 14 catches last week. He didn't do much on the ground, but he had 14 receptions. That's 14 points in PPR before you factor in the yardage and touchdowns. So I agree. I love that call. Number 6 for me, I'm going to go David Johnson. And then 7, Christian McCaffrey. He could be 5. He's that good. To me, Connor, Johnson, McCaffrey, and Hunt are all kind of, they could be interchangeable. Yeah. And then Hunt 8, Tevin Coleman at 9, and then Saquon Barkley at 10. Barkley also had, 14 receptions.
That was insane. They just kept throwing him the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't getting any yardage at all, but he still had 14
receptions. Yeah, that pretty cool spin moves. You get points for spin moves? You should get points for spin moves. But
Or you should get 1 point for a spin move and 2 points if you jump over a defender.
yeah,
I love
right?
it when
That'd be
they do
awesome.
But yeah, Tevin Coleman, I should have had him listed as a start for me this week too, but that's kind of an obvious one, I thought. But he's in for a big week.
Our starts are meant for like players that you don't normally you would start, or players that you normally would start for the sit eyes. Just kind of like, obviously you're going to start your studs. We're just giving you our feedback on our facts. So our 6 through 10. So I got Saquon Barkley at 6. Dude, they're using him a lot. He's catching a lot. He's like the second lead receiver on the team. Probably first, honestly. I don't think Odell had a really good game against the Cowboys. So I got Kareem Hunt at 7. 8 is James Conner. 9 is David Johnson. And Tevin Coleman rounds out my top 10. I do think Tevin Coleman's going to have a good game. By the way, if you're updating our pick'ems, I haven't decided on Indianapolis and Philadelphia yet. I'm still deciding on that, so hold that off, okay? All right.
I was just entering them in so I can look at mine instead of doing it with...
Well, that's it. The whole point of this is not you to look at it, so you can't base it off...
I'm not. I was saving it in here, so instead of filling yours out on the computer, because you don't do it, I can look at mine and read them off.
Okay. Anyways, while Scott's doing that, I'm doing my 11 through 15. I got, need to adjust that. Latavius Murray, my 11. I think he's going to have a really good game. I think he can easily get 80 yards and a touchdown, maybe get a couple catches. Then pass catching specialist Chris Thompson, he had 9, 10 catches last week. I forget, it was a ridiculous number. Alex Smith is going to be looking for him a lot. There's going to be a shootout type game. Green Bay, they're playing against Green Bay. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. They're going to throw the ball to someone. Chris Thompson, Jordan Reed, probably the only 2 options for Alex Smith right now. So I'm high on Chris Thompson, high on Jordan Howard, even though Josh has him too. So he's probably going to go off. Usually that's how it works when people play against me. Kenyon Drake at 14, and Lamar Miller rounds out my top 15.
Yep. Jordan Howard 11, Kenyon Drake 12. I got Latavius Murray 13, Giovanni Bernard 14, and then Chris Thompson 15. I do love that call on Chris Thompson. He's the PPR guy in that offense, and he'll be loaded up with catches this week.
He's around $6,000 too in daily, like $6,400 on DraftKings, something like that. So I'm starting him one of my daily leagues. I like him a lot. So TJ Yeldon is my 16. Obviously, I had Fournette, but this is news to us. So Yeldon, I put Yeldon in. Yeldon's like the type of handcuff where you kind of can replace him with the ranking of Fournette just because he's that good. Matt Breida, who I think it might be a little bit too low on him, but I think he has the potential to break out, kind of like he did last week. Alex Collins, Philip Lindsay, and James White. Look, James White is a guy kind of like similar to Chris Thompson, where he was a leading catcher last week against the Jags. He can easily get 7, 8 catches, 60, 70 yards, maybe a touchdown. So I like James White a lot too.
Yeah. 16, I got Lamar Miller. 17, we're going Matt Breida. 18, Corey Clement. 19, TJ Yeldon. And then 20, Marshawn Lynch. I really like all 5 of these. Well, the first 4, Miller, Breida, Clement, and Yeldon. I really like all 4 of them for this week. I think they bring great value. They're very cheap. You could pretty much pick them up for free after your drafts on all of them. And I think they're giving you excellent value here. Yeldon, Breida, and Clement.
Mm-hmm. So Rex Burkhead, 21. Deion Lewis, as Scott said, probably the only fantasy guy you want in Tennessee. I do think GameStrip's going to be in favor of Deion Lewis. A lot of pass catching opportunities. Chloe Clement, I had Jay Ajayi on there, but this is before he was ruled out. So I moved Marshawn Lynch as my 24th. Jamal Williams is my 26th. Adrian Peterson is my 27th. 28 is Austin Eckler. Latavius Murray. And then I got Derrick Henry, followed up by Chris Ivory.
All right. 21 here, I got your James White call. Mm-hmm. I do think he's going to catch a ton of passes this week. 22, Adrian Peterson. And 23, a little bit surprise here, Sony Michel. I thought they were using him as the primary ball carrier there against Jacksonville last week. He got plenty of looks, plenty of touches. I thought he looked okay. It was tough running against Jaguars defense, so it was kind of hard to judge. But it did seem like the usage was going to be there, and I do think he scores a touchdown, his first career touchdown in Detroit this week. Alex Collins, 24, Deion Lewis, 25. Then I got Philip Lindsay, 26th, and Royce Freeman 27. So I think that's interchangeable. That could be either guy getting the bulk of the carries there. 28, Buck Allen. 29, Austin Eckler. I love him this week.
I love him a lot, too.
I could probably have him higher, to be honest with you.
In daily, he's very cheap, too. He's going to have a good game.
And then I'll put Derrick Henry at 30. I had Marlon Mack, but I found out he was out. So we're going to put Derrick Henry at 30.
And a sleeper, Jordan Wilkins. Sleeper, Jordan Wilkins. Going to our wide receivers. Michael Thomas, number 1. Great matchup this week. Antonio Brown, number 2. DeAndre Hopkins, top 3. You can interchange all 3 of those to whatever your preference are. That's how my preference is based on matchups. Followed by Julio Jones and followed by Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill's going to have a good game. He's been killing it. Tyreek Hill's been killing it. Does it keep up? I don't know. But it's for Tyreek Hill not fan, but for all the Tyreek Hill owners, I bet you're loving it right now.
Yep. The squeaky wheel gets the grease this week. Antonio Brown, wide receiver 1. Michael Thomas, wide receiver 2.
So that means it's going to be opposite.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver number 3. He's, like you said, he's killing it this year. He keeps it going as long as he stays healthy, doesn't take that big shot. 'Cause he's also a frail little guy like me, but bigger. And then
a lot bigger.
Julio at 4, Mike Evans at 5. Then I'll just roll 6 through 10. Hopkins at 6, OBJ at 7, Thielen at 8, Diggs at 9. I think they're both good players. Every week they'll change, around this area. And then Devontae Adams at 10.
My 6 to 10 is going to be Mike Evans. He's having another good game. Odell, AJ, Juju. Then I got Adam Thielen, followed by Stephon Diggs. They kind of can go back and back. But then going up to my 15. So I do have Stephon Diggs, Golden Tate. Keenan Allen, guys. My guy, there's a PPR stud who's usually top 7 receiver. You're going against the Rams. I got to temper expectations. I do think he still gets catches, but would the yardage be there? I don't know. Devontae Adams, and then Emmanuel Sanders would be my top 15.
Yep, I love Emmanuel Sanders this year. It's a great fit in this offense. But I got Keenan Allen 11, Brandon Cooks 12, AJ Green at 13, Juju 14, T.Y. Hilton at 15. I should probably, change it out on the fly. Emmanuel Sanders 15, T.Y. Hilton drops to 16 there. Chris Hogan, I'll move him to 17, Golden Tate 18, and Larry Fitzgerald comes in at 19, Will Fuller at 20. Fuller, whenever he plays, he seems to find the end zone. So
I think the weird stat, don't quote me on this, it was in 6 career games when he played with Watson, he had like 8, 9 touchdowns. That's how great he's been. But I do got T.Y. at 16. Got Nelson Aguilar, who I think is going to have a really big look. Guy catches a lot of passes. I'm surprised that he's catching so many. I think he gets a boost with Carson Wentz. Brandon Cooks, Scott's very high on. Kenny Galladay. And then followed by Amari Cooper, who I don't think is having a good game this week. But by namesake, I put him up there.
Right. 21, I got Kenny Galladay. Love him this week. Get plenty of targets. Nelson Aguilar, 22. Might be a little bit low on him, but the first week he had all them targets, but the yardage wasn't there. This last week he did get the yardage, but they were also chasing points. Amari Cooper, 23. Sammy Watkins, 24. He's a start for me. I love him this week. Love the matchup. High scoring game here. He'll score a touchdown. And then I got Kenny Stills, 25. Demaryius Thomas, 26. Robert Woods, 27. Tyler Lockett, 28. He's a wide receiver 1 there in Seattle for the time being. 29, Randall Cobb. And 30, I got Marvin Jones coming in for the Lions. So 3 Lions in my top 30, which is kind of gross.
I have Marvin Jones as well as my 30. So going up with follow, I got Chris Hogan. Does Josh Gordon take targets away from Hogan? Does Josh Gordon
Roman numerals? Look at you.
Yeah, well, that's because how I formatted it. Every time I tried to adjust the numbers, it would continue from 28 to 29. So I had to keep changing the thing. It's actually hurting my brain because I'm like which one's Roman numeral for 30? XXX, right? Okay, I got to work on that. Okay. Anyways, besides the point.
So what did Caitlin say when she saw XXX sitting on your paper?
Well, she didn't see it. She didn't see it. See, she's asleep right now.
Okay.
You like to stir shit, don't you?
Love it.
Every time I'm on here, see, I know how he feels. I know how he feels because I did the same thing with him too. So, all right. Anyways, about Chris Hogan, does Josh Gordon take targets away from him? Does Josh Gordon even play? He does have hamstring tightness. He's going to test it pregame. We don't know how that's I just want to see what happens. Take the 2 touchdowns away. Chris Hogan didn't really have a good game. He had 3 catches for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was I think Josh got very fortunate that week, but good for him.
Yeah, very fortunate he didn't listen to the experts with Quincy Enunwa versus Hogan.
Yeah, well, Quincy Enunwa, man. I still like Quincy Enunwa a lot better. Anyways, Kenny Stills, A-Rob, Allen Robinson, who had kind of have a break. I got 10 catches last week. I think he has potential to kind of, seems like week to week the report's getting better. Demaryius Thomas, Keenan Cole, Randall Cobb, Deshaun Jackson, and at 29 is Larry Fitzgerald. And as I said, Marvin Jones is my 30th ranked wide receiver. And just I have Will Fuller at 31. So he can easily be exchanged there. But that's it for wide receivers.
Keelan Cole. I should have ranked Keelan Cole. That's,
hey, that catch was dope.
On my part.
That catch was dope. Who did it better? Odell, right?
Oh, Odell scored a touchdown.
And it was diving. And it was diving like this.
Falling backwards.
And it was on the cover of Madden almost. So.
All right, so tight end, week 3 tight end rankings. Immediately the first 5 are easy. Gronk, Kelsey, Ertz, Reed, and Jimmy Graham. Some combination of those 5. That's probably your top 5 tight ends every week going forward.
I don't have Graham. I have Kelsey 1, Ertz 2, Gronkowski, then Kittle. I think Kittle's going to have a really good game this week just because of the matchup. And I got Jimmy Graham. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. 6, I'm going Eric Ebron. 7, George Kittle. 8, Evan Ingram. 9, Kyle Rudolph. And 10, O.J. Howard. I think he really has turned Cameron Brate into nothing in this offense, which is pretty crazy, considering Ryan Fitzpatrick seemed to have more of a rapport with Cameron Brate last year. I thought that would carry more into this season for the first 3 weeks. Well,
I am hesitant on O.J. Howard, guys. He's not going to get 66-yard touchdown catches all the time.
No.
Okay? Look, that was his fantasy day, was that 66-yard touchdown. I want to see more before I'm like really all in on O.J. Howard. But the matchup is there. Steelers defense always gives up points to the tight end. So start O.J. Howard if you have him. But just be calm, guys. Be hesitant. He's not going to get 66-yard catches all the time. So I got Kyle Rudolph at, number 6 or number 7?
We're at 6.
6. Kyle Rudolph, Evan Ingram. O.J. Howard is my 8. Trey Burton at 9. And you got Jared Cook at 10.
All right. Oh, I didn't rank Jared Cook. That's a miss on my part, too. But anyways, 11.
You're all right, man. You feeling sick?
Apparently, I guess.
Ish.
I got Trey Burton at 11, Austin Hooper at 12. We'll throw Brandon Cooks in at 13. ASJ at 14, and Ben Watson here comes in at 15. Playing as a tight end 1, but he's not that elite vertical field stretcher tight end there for New Orleans, so he'll have a nice game.
I do got Watson at 15. Going up to Ebron at 11. Now, this is before Jack Doyle news, so he can easily go in the top 10, but I'll keep him from right here. I got to cross this guy out. I got Ricky Seals-Jones at 12, ASJ at 13, Ben Watson at 14. I got Jesse James at 15. I had to cross out David Njoku. Bad.
Jesse James comes at 16, Ian Thomas at 17, Eifert at 18, Will Dissly 19, and RSJ, Ricky Seals-Jones, comes in at 20. And also 21, I'm just going to throw this out there, keep an eye on Jake Butt for Denver Broncos.
I actually have Jake Butt at 19. I think he's have a good game this week. So I got Austin Hooper, Will Dissly. Who's Dissly? Tyler Eifert, Jake Butt. And I got Vance McDonald. They both tight ends played good for the Steelers last week. So I have both Steelers tight end. And quickly going through the defenses. Obviously, probably number 1 is going to be Minnesota Vikings. I haven't even looked at Scott's. Is it Minnesota Vikings, Scott?
Minnesota what?
Vikings as a defense?
Yeah.
So is it number 1 for you?
Absolutely.
Well,
who else would I play? It's Minnesota.
Are you all right, bro? What are you doing?
We got some drama going on in the comment sections here.
What happened? Enlighten us.
Well, Josh and Nick Solomon are going after it.
About what?
Nick's calling Josh a dumbass and get off.
Okay, well.
Nick's the old guy here going, get off my lawn.
Okay, so I got Chicago Bears at 2. My streaming choice of the week, Dallas Cowboys, is my 3rd ranked defense this week. That's how high.
Jacksonville?
Ahead of Jacksonville.
Going against Blaine Gabbert?
Ahead of Jacksonville.
Okay.
Ahead of Jacksonville. And then followed by number 5 will be the Houston Texans.
All right. Well, I got Minnesota 1, Jacksonville 2, Chicago 3, Houston 4, and Philadelphia comes in at 5.
Followed by number 6 will be Ravens, Dolphins, Eagles. Los Angeles Chargers at 10, and the Denver Broncos at 10. I forgot to put the Rams in here. I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, making a change. Dallas Cowboys and Rams. Same area. My bad.
I'm going to go Baltimore 6, Denver 7, Carolina 8, Rams at 9, and then we'll do New England 10 against Detroit. Stafford loves to throw interceptions.
Yeah. He loves to throw to his other team, it seems like. So I got Carolina Panthers, Seattle Seahawks, Cincinnati Bengals, Green Bay Packers, New England Patriots, who it's a bend over brick type offense. Defense. New York Giants. I'm finishing up my top 20 will be Arizona Cardinals, Tennessee Titans, Chiefs, and then I got like the Washington Redskins.
All right, so I got Arizona at 11. I do think that it seems like the script plays, Chicago gets up there, they'll score 10 points on script plays. And then the second they got to start changing and going off script and making adjustments, the offense shuts down. It doesn't generate yards. So Arizona at 11, Seattle 12, Green Bay 13, Dallas 14, Cincinnati 15, Miami 16, Pittsburgh 17, New Orleans 18, Tampa Bay 19, and Atlanta at 20.
Obviously, guys, this is our rankings, so if you have any questions about it, give us a comment. We're available all Sunday before 1 o'clock. Start the guy that you're most comfortable with. This is Scott's and I's preference. What happened?
So with fantasy news coming out, Rob Gronkowski. So actually, this Rob Gronkowski story. Remember he threatened to retire? Mm-hmm. The Patriots had a trade in place with the Detroit Lions. They had a trade in place with the Detroit Lions. It was going to go through. That didn't come out. But Rob Gronkowski threatened to retire, said he's not going to play for the Lions. He's only going to play for the Patriots with Tom Brady. So he threatened to retire if they traded him. Therefore, the trade got nixed. But Rob Gronkowski, the Patriots had a trade lined up with the Detroit Lions here to send him to play with Matthew Stafford.
Wow, that would have been nice.
Yeah. Touchdowns would have been there, I think. He'd have been
a lot more touchdowns, probably.
Yeah. So, also, another thing.
A lot of breaking news.
Yes, Jason LaCanfora of CBS Sports is reporting there is a possibility Joe Mixon returns for Week 4.
Nice. Nice.
So that'd be after his knee procedure. He had a knee procedure. He had some...
I think that's overly optimistic,
right, he had some debris in his knee. They went in there and cleaned out his knee. That's all it was, just a little bit of a scope cleaning. And,
overly optimistic, but that's good for Mixon owners. As I said, this is our rankings, guys. Feel the guy you're most comfortable with. If you have any questions about it, just start the guy that you think is higher. Scott's and I's rankings are quietly about the same, so just look at that. But going into our Fantasy Leprechauns, Pot of Gold, Glory for the Week. I'm getting really good at that now. So Scott's 1-1. Scott was wrong on Dante Pettis. Got one catch for 35 yards. Did get injured a little bit, though. So he's 1 for 1. So I'm going to leave it to the Fantasy Leprechaun for his Pot of Gold Glory pick of the week for week number 3.
I have to go back and watch that Week 2 game for San Francisco there because I did see Pettis get a lot of looks early, so I'm questioning it whether or not he got injured and I lost it because of injury. And I get technical like that.
He always does that. He always tries to tour it around like he's right. Colin Coward. Just admit that you're wrong. One catch for 35 yards is not no glory pick of the week, man.
Oh,
that's a what the?
He had one catch for 35 yards?
Yes.
That was his point total?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Man. If he'd have got more targets, I would have been right.
No, you wouldn't have. Anyways, what's week 3?
Anyways, ultimately, I'm wrong because the only thing that matters is the points you score when I say you're going to score those points, and he didn't get them. Regardless of how that happened, he did not get them. So I was wrong. I admit.
Thank you.
This week, week 3, we're going with a rookie. A rookie is going to be back-to-back weeks. We're going to make the glory pick of the week a rookie. For the New Orleans Saints offense, can you take a swing at guessing who it is? New Orleans Saints offense.
Jonathan Williams?
Number 10. I said rookie out of UCF. Mr.
Traquan Smith.
Traquan Smith. Sean Payton came out and said he wants to get him more involved in this offense. The wide receiver 2 really hasn't done a whole lot. Taking a little bit here or there, but Austin Carr hasn't really done anything out of the slot. I do think Traquan Smith, who looked really good in the preseason, was making plays. A lot of contested catch plays there.
He has Drew Brees throwing the ball to him, too.
And I do think there's plenty of scoring in this game here. So my projection, Traquan Smith, week 3, Fantasy Leprechauns, Pot of Gold, glory play of the week. Traquan Smith goes for 4 catches for 55 yards, and he scores the vaunted touchdown.
So this segment, guys, just so people know, is a person that's probably not getting starting in your lineups, probably available on the waiver wire in most leagues, or in dynasty leagues, he's a rookie that's probably on someone's lineup that you can maybe trade for because he has high upside. That's the type of player we are. Obviously, not going to find a player like Kirk Cousins or Joe Mixon type of player on the glory pick of the week. These are players that you don't think aren't getting started. So
they're not being talked about.
Nobody,
you'll hear this name almost nowhere else except maybe in deep dynasty circles.
Yes.
Nor would anybody really consider playing this guy unless you want a little bit of a glory.
Let's go on a deep league, like 16, 17, 18 team league. But so 452 and a touchdown for Traquan Smith. I'm digging it. We'll see who'll be right. The game's a 1 o'clock game, so we'll know by 4 o'clock if Scott was right. If Scott can, hey, what's your goal? 500? 500? Above 500?
On this? Yeah, if I get 500 on this specific thing, that'd be really great, I think.
All right, cool. Anyways, recap of the prop bets we have. As I said, Scott and I are doing a prop bet, one for the Pick'ems, who's currently leading by 2 games. Got one for McCoy v. Mixon and Gordon v. Watkins. So McCoy has 14 points to Mixon 36. McCoy's not going to play. Mixon's still not going to play, but could come back earlier. So it looks like I'm probably going to lose that bet.
Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins had a breakout game. Josh Gordon may or may not play, but it doesn't matter. The cap was 4 games missed, so we'll see there. But Gordon has 9.6 points to Watkins 24.2. Which leads us into our pick'ems this week, a week where we end the show. So I am at 17 wins, 14 losses, and 2 ties. Scott's at 19 wins, 12 losses, and 2 ties. We add into the Thursday night game. Me and Scott both thought the Browns would win. So going into our pick'ems, is there anything from the viewers' comics before we start the pick'ems up? Oh, there's still Nick and Josh.
Josh loves Nick Solomon.
Okay.
And he also made a hairline joke to Nick Solomon.
Oh, that's low ball.
They're also bragging about their money and properties they own. So have fun with that, guys.
Okay. Well, we got more pressing concerns here. So, all right. So let's go up into it. 1 o'clock games. San Francisco versus Kansas City. High scoring game here. I do expect Kansas City to pull it off. I have Kansas City winning that game.
Kansas City wins this game.
All right.
At Arrowhead. This is Pat Mahomes' first game he gets to play at home.
I know. That's probably be electric, probably. Denver Broncos with the Baltimore Ravens. I don't trust Joe Flacco in that team. Denver Bronco wins the game for me.
I am making an audible here, and we will pick the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. Or I will pick the Baltimore Ravens. I like Denver. I like the direction we're going with Case Keenum. This is the first road game for us. Case Keenum's throwing a lot of picks. There's been a lot of turnovers here for the Broncos offense. We barely pulled out the game last week at home against Oakland. I do think they get humbled this week and lose to the Ravens by a touchdown.
New York Giants versus the Houston Texans, both 0-2. This could pretty much make or break this season. I think the Texans turn it around and actually win. I don't trust that offensive line of the New York Giants.
Yeah, this is kind of a coin flip game to me, so I'm going with the home team. Houston Texans win this game 23-20.
Oakland Raiders versus Miami. They usually don't play well going into the East Coast, but I think Oakland will win this game. I think they're going to finally turn it around somehow, and Oakland wins.
Fun stat here. Last 10 games for Ryan Tannehill, he's 9-1.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess you're picking Miami.
Nope. Oakland Raiders. Miami, they're a 2-0 team, but they beat Tennessee in a weird game that was played over 8 hours, and Blaine Gabbert came in to try to finish the game for them. And then they got to beat a rookie quarterback with the New York Jets and Sam Darnold. So I do think Derek Carr and the Raiders, they do pull this game out. I'm thinking 17-13.
My upside of the week pretty much will be Green Bay versus Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins at home. I think Alex Smith turns around and beats the Green Bay Packers.
I will say, caveat here, I'm picking the Green Bay Packers, but if Aaron Rodgers misses, I will change my pick to Washington.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're picking the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Indianapolis versus Philadelphia. Now, this is a toss-up.
You kept going back and forth on. I'm interested to see how you do.
I'm going to go.
Would you like me to go first here? Or are you
you go first.
Upset of the week, Indianapolis beats Seattle here. Andrew Luck, they're in rhythm. They look good on offense to me. They beat a good Washington team on the road last week. Carson Wentz come back. I think he's a little bit rusty, and there's injuries all over this place for the Philadelphia offense. I'm going Indianapolis in a very close game.
Just because I'm starting Jordan Wilkins, I'm gonna pick Indianapolis Colts. But this is the toss-up for me. But I'm picking Indianapolis Colts with the upset. So Cincinnati versus Carolina Panthers. I do think Cam Newton's have a great breakout game this week. I think he's gonna get like a rushing touchdown, maybe 2. I have Carolina win this game.
I also picked Carolina to win the game.
Tennessee versus Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm pretty sure Scott and I picked the same thing. It'll be Jaguars. Now, this is a kind of a shootout toss-up. New Orleans versus ATL, Atlanta Falcons. I think the Saints finally turned around. They seem like they always play. They always beat the Atlanta Falcons away, and it seems like the Atlanta Falcons always beat them at their home. So I do think the New Orleans Saints beat the Falcons this week.
Right. I think this is more. I can't. Well, no, the Saints did win last week, didn't they?
Who do you trust more, Matt Ryan or Drew Brees?
It really is a toss-up. Seems like every time they play, it's a toss-up. I have the Saints picked. I'll pick the Saints as well. My thought process beforehand was they were 0-2, so obviously they're not going to go 0-3, but they won last week, so that was a dumb thought process. But I'll stick with the Saints.
Probably another consensus. Buffalo versus Vikings. Me and Scott probably picked the Vikings, I'm assuming, right?
Well, hold up. Josh Allen. I mean, come on. Pick City. Vikings won the game.
Yeah.
Defensive touchdown for Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sweet. Los Angeles Chargers, the LA Rams. My blowout of the week. I think LA Rams will easily win this game.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're playing at the Chargers, because they're both LA Rams.
Battle of Hollywood.
Even if they were playing at the Charger Stadium, it would be a home game for the Rams.
Yeah.
Everybody that plays against the Chargers here is a home game for them. The Chiefs, it was a home game for them. There's no home field advantage at all here for the Los Angeles Chargers. They lose this game. They're perpetually on the road, even at home. They're always playing road games. Mm-hmm. So Rams win this game.
Battle of Hollywood, too. Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. I made a mistake. I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. I had that originally. I'm sorry about that, Scott.
I got to change your pick here.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm also picking the Cowboys. It's hard to trust Russell Wilson in this offense with the struggles on the offensive line here. So I agree with you. I think there's plenty of sacks to go.
I think the Dallas Cowboys get 6 sacks. Streaming
Taco
defense.
Charlton, Michigan guy, gets one of them.
Probably. Chicago versus Arizona. Easy another blowout game. I have Chicago winning that game.
Yep, Chicago's defense. I think it's a lower scoring game, but I do think Chicago's defense holds Arizona to under 10 points total scored.
And another high-scoring affair, most likely. New England Patriots go up against Detroit on Sunday Night Football. In Detroit, I do have New England win that game. I think they're going to bounce back from the Jacksonville loss. They have something to prove. I think they're going to go for it.
Well, I think Matt Patricia has something to prove. I think he's been holding and tanking this team the first 2 weeks of the season so that he can unveil and really show you how good this team's going to be against New England, and they lose. New England Patriots win the game.
With Monday Night Football, got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic. I got Pittsburgh Steelers win this game. I think they're going to turn around and get that W.
Pittsburgh probably wins this game, but you know what? I picked Tampa Bay last week to beat Philadelphia. Tampa Bay beats Pittsburgh Steelers. And when Jameis Winston originally got that suspension, everybody goes, oh, wow, look at their schedule. They got Philadelphia, New Orleans Saints, and Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to go
us wrong.
3. You know what? Fitzpatrick takes them to 3-0. And all of a sudden, there's no quarterback controversy in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy until further notice.
Yep, that is our show, guys. Is there any last-minute questions from the viewers? Anything that we need to look at before we sign off?
The Fantasy Cyclops says his quarterbacks suck compared to our rankings.
Which is the quarterback again?
Hang on, I want to see where they're at in my rankings, and we'll go from there. So his quarterbacks that we ranked are Philip Rivers.
Horrible matchup, man. Horrible matchup.
Yep, he's got Philip Rivers and Alex Smith. I got him at 18 and 20 respectively.
Well, Alex Smith
17 and 20 respectively.
The thing with Alex Smith is he had a really good week 1 game, and then he didn't have to do anything after that. Like, then the week 2 game was a dud. So I'm worried about the weapons, too. Jordan Reed only played about half the snaps, so is there an injury concern right there? I don't know. We'll see.
One last thing. I made a trade this week.
You did.
I traded.
Shocker. Scott made a trade this week.
Yeah, shocker. Woo. Now, I'll tell you offhand, I did lose this, but I really wanted to acquire the player that I got here. So I traded away Allen Robinson, and I got Cortland Sutton and Josh Doctson. Matt, would you care to grade the trade?
So you got Allen Robinson. Let me write this down.
I gave away Allen Robinson. I gave Allen Robinson to Matt Johnson firefight.
Do you know, I tried to figure out, hold off. I tried to get Matt Breida, and he's like, I'm not starting any of my running backs. I'm like, not any of them?
I wouldn't either if I was him.
Not any of you running backs.
I really think he can compete this year, make the playoffs, and maybe win a game. I don't think he'll win a championship, but I do think he's got a team to the point where he could compete.
You said my dad wouldn't have a chance to win. I think my dad can easily win this week and easily get in the playoffs. So let's go, Dad. Okay. A-Rob for who?
I got Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
And Josh Doxson. Now, mind you, in July and August, I spent the whole 2 months offering Allen Robinson straight up for Cortland Sutton, and he refused those trades.
Well, I think silly he should have done that to begin with.
I know, but...
I mean, Cortland Sutton has tremendous value. Rookie receivers usually take a little bit longer to develop, but he kind of showed some promise last week. Don't like Josh Doxson at all. I don't like him at all, but at least you got an extra player to get some value. And you kind of sold high on A-Rob, which is all right. I mean, I'm not against it. I do think you do lose that trade.
Yeah, I think I lose definitely, but I don't really love Allen Robinson's role from what I've seen so far in this offense.
Well, you got 10 catches last week.
Yeah, for what, 50 yards?
It was like 80.
Yeah, so
18-point fantasy.
They're really short, and he's usually a deep threat type guy, contested, jump, get it. It doesn't seem like Trubisky is that type of quarterback to throw it to that type of receiver. So I question the role he has in this offense. I have loved everything I saw out of Cortland Sutton. I think he has. Trying to think of a player comp for him. It's not necessarily Julio upside, but maybe like a Stephon Diggs upside.
We'll see.
Where he's perpetually top 10, top 12, but he's never one of them elite guys. I think he has that
like
kind
a Keenan Allen then.
Yeah, kind of like him. So I love Cortland Sutton. I just don't. It's not in the cards for this season, unless, of course, Demaryius Thomas goes down. Then expect every week start for Cortland Sutton.
All right. Well, anything else before we sign off, guys? Hey, we're here all through Sunday. Hit us up at Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to all of the medias: Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn. We're all there. We're very interactive on Sundays. We do all about fantasy football on Sundays, so don't be afraid to send us a message or tag us at Twitter at Dynasty Pigskin. Make sure you get your lineup set at 1 o'clock, guys. I hope you guys have a good week. I hope you guys win. And Josh, I hope you lose. See you guys. You say bye or stop. You just stand there with